This podcast is brought to you by South Main Iron. I love the guys over at South Main Iron. If you have any motorcycle, side-by-side, four-wheelers, power sports needs, go check out South Main Iron. Downtown, I love seeing them downtown. Love their historic old building. Amazing crew over there. Go check them out. So glad they sponsored this podcast. Thank you guys so much. Let's jump right into it. But first, I need to talk to you guys for just a real quick minute before we jump into this. A lot has happened. I've missed a few weeks, and a lot's happened in the world, and it's been scary. And it's just things are different. And I missed a few because I had a lot of other stuff going on, and I just didn't have this on my priority. I'm so sorry for that, guys. I'm going to try to keep this thing going, but it looks like from here on out, for a little while at least, I may be doing these via phone with my guests. So we're going to be trying that and see if that works. If I miss one, it might have been just because it was hard to get people lined up or get them on the phone, or I've never recorded through a phone, so that might be a problem too. So we're going to try that and see how that works, and we'll go from there. But I will give you a little heads up. This podcast was recorded probably a month and a half ago, and there was obviously no awareness of what was to come. So let's check it out. Welcome to another Paris, Texas, a podcast. This is a podcast where you get to listen to people's stories, people that have either influenced or lived in the city of Paris, Texas. I love hearing their stories, and I can't wait for you to hear the next guest. All right, guys, welcome back to another podcast. I have another one of my favorites, someone I don't know very little about, at least her story before where she's at currently. Shelly Braziel, sorry, what's up?
What's up?
How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me.
So tell us, where are you from? Where are you hail from?
Technically, that's what I tell people. I am from California. That's where I was born. So
Yay.
I don't think really anybody knows that. I'm from SoCal,
Wow.
Orange County. That's right.
Were you there long enough to have memories, or did you?
Well, we moved when I was a baby, but we go back every summer.
So you still have family
So
there?
yeah, one of my sisters lived there. I have a cousin, an aunt.
Awesome.
So yeah,
Awesome.
lots
Did you
out there.
ever think about moving there?
Absolutely not.
Nope.
No, I am a Southern girl. I grew up in the South. I don't think I would make it out there at all.
Yeah, I've spent quite a bit of time in California. It is very different.
It is. It's a vacation destination.
It's a great place to visit, in a not a bad place to do a small. Because I worked in L.A. for about a month and a week on a video job, and I lived there for a month and a week, and so it's a great place for a job for that short amount of time. But then after that, I was about ready to come home. I was very ready to come home.
Yeah, I think 2 months is the longest I've made it out there. I even tried to move back in college. I was like, I'm going to go to school out here, and thought I was real smart and it was going to be great. And I lasted literally 8 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
And then it was back to Texas.
Okay, so when you moved away from as a baby, where did they move you to?
Oh, we moved all over a 3-state area. So I think we went from there to Oklahoma, but then it was really short-lived. And we lived in Louisiana for a while in Shreveport. And then when I actually went to kindergarten here in Paris.
Okay.
We only lived here for a year. Then it was back to Oklahoma. Then it
wow.
was to Dallas. And then I graduated high school in Hugo.
Okay.
So that's how I ended up kind of right
now,
here
did
in
you
this little
spend
pocket.
a majority of your school time in Hugo?
Yeah, I think we moved back to Hugo when I was in the 6th grade.
Okay.
So through there and through to high school. And then I went to college at Southeastern in Durant.
So in high school, what, 6th through high school, what was your thing? What was something that you enjoyed doing?
Let's see. I cheered. I was a dancer. I did show choir, surprisingly.
Awesome.
And then theater, I think, in high school was my thing. So
awesome.
Yeah.
What? So out of those, what was your favorite?
Probably theater.
Theater?
Yeah.
Do you remember your first play that you were in?
Oh my gosh. I do. The Little Prince.
The Little Prince.
I was the fox.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I think that was the first full production, and that was my freshman year. We did some little stuff in middle school, like what's the Sky is Falling one, or Little Chicken, something like that. We did a little thing like that in middle school, but high school, I think that was full production.
That's awesome. Yeah. I love theater. I had theater stuff in high school, and then I did some theater stuff as an adult, and then my son is very involved in theater stuff, my oldest son, and so we are big fans of the theater. Yeah. And my wife was a cheerleader. She was like captain of her cheer squad, and she went to nationals a couple times in Disney World, and so she's got that. She's been watching this show on Netflix. Oh, I can't think of it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's the new cheerleader show.
Yes,
it's kind of like a documentary. Yeah, I haven't gotten to watch it yet, but I saw the preview.
She loved it. So if you're into that kind of thing, you should go watch it. But that's interesting. Okay, so when you were graduating high school, what was the plan? Like, what was your thought process?
I think I thought that I was going to be a psychiatrist. So I was a psychology major for 2 years in college.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh my God, I don't want to stay in this school this long. This
so
is
hard.
horrible.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm just going to stop and take a break.
Okay.
And then I thought about that for a while, and I got married, and I had 3 kids.
Okay.
And then
so did you meet him at school?
I did not. He actually worked at Billy Bob's Texas.
Okay.
He was the head of customer service and the head of security.
Okay.
And he was friends with my uncle. My uncle was a lot younger than my mom, obviously. He's a late life child. And so that's how I met. I actually met him when I was 16 and didn't start dating him until I was 20.
Okay.
So I took a really long time out from college.
Okay.
And then went back, I think, in my late 20s just to get a general degree, just because I wanted to.
Yeah, because you wanted to.
Because I can.
If you want to, you should.
That's right.
That's awesome. So did y'all have kids in that time?
We did. So all before, I didn't go back to college until I had my third and last kid. And I think I feel like I had him when I was 27 or something like that.
Awesome. So 3.
We have 3 boys.
3 boys, 3 boy club. I am also part of the 3 boy club.
It's the best club to be in.
I mean it, man. I've tried to talk my wife, and I really want a girl. I don't know why. I just really want a girl, and she's like, nope, I'm happy with 3 boys. And I'm like, all right.
I really thought the last one, everything about the pregnancy was different. I thought it was going to be a girl. I was like, it's going to be a girl. Went to the doctor, and he was like, I have never been so sure of anything in my life. It's a boy. Okay, we're done.
Yep. So
this is what we get.
Similar thing happened. My wife was on the fence. The first 2, she was convinced they were boys.
Yeah.
The last one, she was like on the fence, but she just didn't know how she felt. And I was like really optimistic about a girl. And the doctor didn't even have to tell me that first sonogram, or maybe not the first one, but the first one that you're supposed to be able to tell. Yep. I was like, don't tell me that's what I think it is.
That's exactly right.
He didn't even have to tell me. I knew what it was.
Yep.
And it was a boy.
Yep.
So
it's okay, because I just don't think that there's room for any more girls in my house. It's just me. I'm the princess. They take care of me. I like it that way.
And maybe that's what my wife likes about it
that's
too.
Exactly what she likes. She just doesn't want you to know.
That's awesome. All right, so you had 3 kids, and you're like, okay, I want to go back to school. Mm-hmm. Did you have like a thought process of what you wanted to do with your schooling, or just that you really wanted to go back and finish?
I just wanted to finish it. I just wanted to I was already doing what I planned to do with my career.
What was that?
Which I had been working in the nonprofit sector that whole time.
Okay.
In fact, my very first job I ever had, I was 13 years old and working for a nonprofit.
Okay.
So even though I had this bright idea when I first went to college that I was going to be a psychiatrist, I was still working in the nonprofit sector at that time. So I really didn't need the degree. I just wanted it. Okay. So I thought I'll go back. I'll get this general degree just in case something happens and I need it in the future. And so that's what I did. But it really didn't change anything, I guess.
So what was the first nonprofit you worked for?
Little Dixie Community Action Agency in Hugo.
Awesome.
Yep. I was a receptionist at their administrative office when I was 13.
So did you fall in love with that world?
I don't know whether I fell in love with it at 13, but in my late teens, I would volunteer for this child and adult care food program where they reimbursed daycare homes, and there was kids involved, and they were, they had to feed them a healthy diet 3 times a day. All these rules that USDA comes up with, and so I kind of fell in love with that aspect of it. And so kids were kind of my thing for a while. I worked with several nonprofits in youth programs. And then I was given the opportunity to move into a senior program when I worked for Oklahoma State University. And that was kind of it for me. From that point forward, pretty much. I took a little time out and went to work for the state of Texas for a little bit. But since then, I've pretty much been in adult or senior services.
Awesome. Yeah. Do you know how many nonprofits have you been involved in? Do you know?
My gosh, I don't know that I know. Involved in is one thing. Worked for is another. So worked for, I think 5.
Okay.
Involved in, I could not even.
A bunch.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's incredible. That just shows, it takes a huge heart to do that. And I love that. I love that about you.
Thank you.
Okay. So how did you, were you living, how did you move into Paris?
So my husband was the chief of police at Fort Towson, which is in Oklahoma. It's a little town. And we did not like it there. We were not happy. He wasn't happy as a chief either.
Okay.
It was a small town, so people would come to our house to report crimes. And here I was with these 2 little babies on either hip.
Way.
And I was like, I can't deal with this. So we bought a house in Paris, and he got a different job working for a nonprofit.
Okay.
And so that's kind of, we've been here ever since. Now he's actually the director of a nonprofit program in Oklahoma. So we kind of, it runs in the family. My mom works for a nonprofit.
Really?
My grandma worked for a nonprofit.
Oh my goodness.
So it's, I guess it's a thing.
It's a thing. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And he still now works for a nonprofit?
He does. He works for or with Rural Healthcare Network of Oklahoma.
Awesome.
And it's super complicated, and I probably could not explain it, but it has to do with providing health services in rural areas that couldn't otherwise get those health services.
That's awesome.
But it's I think their administrator of their funds is OSU, so it's a complicated thing. You can have him in sometime to explain all that, because I don't listen well.
Do you?
So
how old are your kids right now?
Let's see. My oldest one is 16. He's a junior.
Okay.
I have a freshman who is about to be 15 in February. And then my youngest is in the 5th grade, and he's 10. Do
they like what y'all, the nonprofit world?
They're super involved, especially the oldest one. He's constantly volunteering. He volunteers at Dylan's Drivers and answers the phones a lot. Of course, they get voluntold a lot. To help at Meals on Wheels. But he does. My oldest two are both in beta, so they do a lot of volunteer hours.
Awesome.
They work a lot of nonprofit events that aren't mine. So
that's awesome.
That's good. I think they genuinely care about people's well-being, and so I think if we've done nothing else, I think we've done that right.
That's awesome.
So that's good.
Do you think that came from just seeing y'all's heart and y'all's being involved as much, or do you think?
I think it's really important to involve them when they're super young.
Okay.
We've thought that from the very beginning. So my kids were at nonprofit events or healthcare events since they were 2, 3, 4 years old, and seeing maybe not even us helping, but other people
helping,
doing it. I think that was really important to mold and shape them into the people that they are.
That's incredible. So our first interaction was when I first met you was through my son Liam.
That's right.
He back in 2018, I think, he begged me forever to do YouTube videos, and I finally said yes, but I told him he had to pick local things to do. He couldn't do like toy reviews or game reviews or anything like that. And then we partnered with United Way which you guys are affiliated with.
We are.
And we were going to go around to all the nonprofits that were willing and do videos with. And you guys, I think you guys might have been one of the first.
I think you had maybe done just a couple.
Yeah.
When you did
one
ours.
Of the first few. And then, and I loved doing that with him because, like you said, with your kids, at a young age, he was able to go in and see people volunteering and doing stuff and what they were doing for and the heart behind it. And he still has a million questions. But even then, he was always like, why do they do that? As soon as we'd get in the car, I don't know the answer to that. You should have asked her what
that
we
would
were
have been a good
there.
question. I think they see things that we don't see also.
Oh, yeah.
I think they see it from a different perspective than we see it. And so they're easily, they're like, oh, well, that just makes sense that we should do this for people. And adults are just not like that. If that wasn't ingrained in them, their whole lives.
So tell me a little bit about, I know some of these answers, but tell me as much as you can about Meals on Wheels, because that's your nonprofit, Meals on Wheels.
So Lamar County Human Resources Council is the bigger agency.
Okay.
And I'm the director and have been since 2014.
Okay.
That agency was founded in 1976, so it's been here for a long time, and it's been a lot of different things. I mean, I think at one point they had transportation and community care. They had utility assistance, so they've kind of really been a lot of things that whatever the community needed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the biggest program is Meals on Wheels. It is a homebound and senior services meal program. We provide a hot, nutritious meal 5 days a week. It kind of started out, I think, as a senior thing, so we only had funding for 60 and older or 65 and older, depending. It's really evolved. Now we have funding for individuals that are disabled, regardless of their age, as long as they're 18 and up.
Okay.
And then we also can serve, we can always serve veterans 60 and older, but now we can serve veterans who are 18 to 59 as well.
Okay.
As long as they've, served their 18 months, then we can serve them. So the program really has expanded, and we're super excited about it. And that's the biggest thing we do. We serve 1,000 meals a day.
So I've got to tour, actually twice now, I've got to tour your facility, and it's really cool. It's set up like an assembly line of sorts, where y'all fixed all the meals in-house. You wrap them, you heat seal them, is that right?
We do.
And then y'all have these heated trucks. Are they air conditioned or heated, or both?
No, they're both.
Okay.
So we have a cooling section and a heating section in the back. So it either keeps the cold food cold and the hot food hot. And they're super cool.
They're super cool.
Yeah.
And then y'all are able to deliver those to the people the way it's supposed to be.
Absolutely. And that's the issue with a lot of other food providers, especially in our area. Everything is so spread out.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're driving, all the way to Anona, which is an hour, then you're not going to be able to keep it the right temperature in a cooler or something like that. So those trucks are really amazing. They have vans now too that we've been looking at. So we might get one of those.
Oh, that's so cool.
We're pretty excited.
So just thinking, sorry. So with Meals on Wheels, how does someone volunteer, or how do they get involved if they're interested in that kind of thing?
So there's obviously lots of things that you could get involved in, not just Meals on Wheels. I mean, we have our pet food program that we need volunteers to deliver for. We need people to work events. We have, throughout the year, we have things like our Mardi Gras fundraiser and Gifts of Love and We Matter. So there's a lot happening. But if you're somebody who wants to deliver meals, then you can even deliver as little as once a month.
Okay.
So we try to make it as easy as humanly possible. All they have to do is come by our office or call us, and we'll send them a volunteer application. We do run a background check just because, we need to protect our clients. And once that's done, I mean, you're kind of good to go. We send one of our staff out with you to run with you the first time if you want them to. We run you through our very quick training. It's not hard. Most of the routes that our volunteers run take less than an hour. So
awesome.
It's like 10 to 15 stops. Some of them are all in the same apartment complex. It's
awesome.
pretty easy to do.
Random story. My wife was telling me a story. I wasn't there for this, but she was having dinner with her folks who moved here from Colorado, and her dad just out of the blue was like, I think I want to do something like deliver from Meals on Wheels, out of the blue. And He hasn't researched it yet, but I'm gonna go home and tell him he has to call. He needs to call you.
Yes. Call us, email us, message us on Facebook.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We try to make it as easy on the volunteers as we possibly can because we know that a lot of our volunteers are not necessarily retired. A lot of them are doing this on their lunch break, so we'll finagle things to, make sure that people can help in some way.
How many volunteers do you currently have?
Well, we have a volunteer roster of 100 people.
Okay.
But in a given week, I'd say probably anywhere from 40 to 50 people deliver meals as volunteers.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's so cool.
It is really great. It's only about 12% of our total meals delivered in a week. The rest are delivered by staff. Mm-hmm. And so if you look at the bigger picture, places like Austin and Fort Worth are delivered at more like 50% volunteers. Mm-hmm. So we do have a ways to go to get where we really need to be. But it's a smaller town.
Yeah, it is small. And y'all, and I think if I remember correctly, y'all cover a large area.
We do. We have 5 counties.
Okay.
We had 1 county, which was Lamar, when right before I started here, and it expanded out into Red River, Delta, Hopkins, and now this last year we even have Rains.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's a big service area.
Yeah.
Like
huge.
Our longest route is from point A all the way back around is 200 miles round trip.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. Done in a 4-hour time frame.
That's amazing.
I don't know how they do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of driving.
It is a lot.
So that's amazing. So here's a question I ask everybody. What's your favorite place in Paris to go? Can be anything. Can be food related. It could be just chill, relax related. It can be anything.
So I prefer to chill at the house, so I feel like it has to be food.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of 107.
Yep.
I do like to eat there, but oddly enough, I really like cafeteria food, like what we would say food for older people.
Yeah.
I don't know why. So I really like the little cafes, like Aunt Mary's and places like that. Those are, in fact, I had Aunt Mary's for lunch today.
Yay.
Yep.
They
have the best chocolate pie. Actually, that's probably my favorite thing in Paris is her chocolate pie.
It's her chocolate pie.
Yeah.
And where are they located?
They are located down by the courthouse. It used to be like Nita's or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever ate there when it was that, and then this was put in, and
it's close to the food pantry.
Yeah.
The
like right around the corner, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm never over that way, so I never think about eating there.
I know, and I forget about it sometimes too. But you have to, if you like chocolate pie,
you got to go there.
Have to.
That's amazing.
That. They have other kinds, but it's not the same.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being on my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
You have a great story. Again, I do love your heart. That it takes someone super special to be able to dedicate their whole life to helping other people.
Thank you. I really enjoy what I do. I absolutely love this community and the people in it. And I've worked in a lot of communities, and I can tell you that this community is by far the most giving and the most compassionate.
And I know Chris Eastep's a huge fan of you guys. He's one of my closest friends. He talks about stuff that you are doing all the time when I'm around him.
He is one of our board members, and he is great. He's he's a really good active board member as well, which is really important. And I learned the other day that my board is the first board that he's ever served on.
That's awesome.
So I was pretty happy about that. I was
great.
I got you in this.
You got a winner.
That's right.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, again, thank you for being on this podcast.
Thank you.
And if any of y'all have any desire to help out with Meals on Wheels, where can they find information?
They can go to Lamar County Meals on Wheels on Facebook.
Okay.
They can call us at 903-784-2580, or they can stop in and visit us, which is at 1273 Northwest 19th Street in Paris.
Awesome. And yeah, so we'll see you guys next week. I want to give one more big shout out to South Main Iron. Thank you guys so much for sponsoring this podcast. Again, guys, go check them out. Downtown, beautiful building. The whole downtown area is transforming. If you're able to get out, if you have any needs or questions, go call them. They can probably answer them over the phone. Great crew up there. Thank you guys. See y'all next time.